Hello and welcome back to another week in new genre books. My name is Amelia, and from Locus magazine, I'm about to tell you the top new science fiction, fantasy, and horror books being published the week of August 29th, 2023. Every week has a Tuesday, and every Tuesday has more new books being published. The publishers like to do it on Tuesdays for reasons that have to do with how bestseller lists are constructed. Anyway, we're here for all the new books, and I've got links for timing if you want to skip to your favorite category, be it science fiction, fantasy, or horror. That's what we cover here, the gooey stuff. First up, science fiction, we have 5 titles. From Karen Lord, we have The Blue, Beautiful World, out from Del Rey in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a science fiction novel. Alien observers are ready to make contact with Earth, which has been radically transformed by climate change. A group of influential visionaries, including a genius inventor, a celebrity icon, a youth leader, and a very charismatic pop star, vie to prepare mankind for first contact. Boy, I would like to be in the meeting where this group comes up with the agenda for how to talk to aliens. From Derek Künsken, we have The House of Saints, out from Solaris UK in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a science fiction novel. After finding a mysterious artifact on the surface of Venus, Georges Etienne and his children have formed the House of Styx. So, of course, everyone wants the thing they found, and our protagonists are in great danger. From Cat Rambo, we have Devil's Gun, out from Tor in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a science fiction novel sequel to You Sexy Thing. When Nico and the rest of You Sexy Thing's crew find that the intergalactic gate they're planning on escaping through is out of commission, which I guess in political terms would be a Stargate gate if the intergalactic gate is busted and it's a disaster. Anyway, from the review in Locus by Liz Bork, Nico Larson was once a soldier for the Holy Hive Mind, and a good one. In order to escape being absorbed into the Hive consciousness, she and a handful of the soldiers that she commanded pretended to have a calling to be artists with food. It worked! She and Second Command Darby Jen set up a restaurant, The Last Chance, and were very good indeed until the station where they were located started exploding. From R.A. Sin, we have A Second Chance for Yesterday, out from Solaris UK in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a near-future science fiction time travel novel. Nev Bourne is a programmer for SavePoint, the brain implant that rewinds the seconds of our most embarrassing moments. She's been working nonstop on the next rollout to make SavePoint 2.0, but when she tests it, she wakes up the next day only to discover it's yesterday. She's falling backwards in time, one day at a time. From Valerie Valdez, we have Where Peace is Lost, out from Harper Voyager US in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a space fantasy novel. Kel Garda hides from her past as a refugee in an isolated star system until a long-dormant pale war machine suddenly reactivates. If the massive automaton isn't stopped, it will displace thousands of people, and that's the best-case scenario. At worst, it will kill every sentient creature on the planet. 2 strangers offered to deactivate the machine for a price, so Kel and a young friend agree to serve as their guides through swamps full of predators. Next up, horror, we have 2 titles this week. From Skyla Arndt, we have Together We Rot, out from Viking in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult horror / thriller / romance novel. Will Green's mom has been missing for over a year, and the police are about to close the case. They say you can't find a woman who wants to disappear, but Will knows her mom wouldn't just leave. Meanwhile, Will's former best friend, Elwood Clark, is preparing for his 18th birthday when he discovers that his upcoming dedication is not about him getting on the path to succeed his father, the pastor. He's meant to be a sacrifice. Will and Elwood team up, digging into the secrets of Elwood's father's cult and how it relates to Will's missing mother. From Jonathan Maberry, we have Cave 13, out from St. Martin's Griffin in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a horror / dark fantasy novel, the 3rd in the Joe Ledger and Rogue Team International series, a spin-off to the main Joe Ledger series. A new cave filled with Dead Sea Scrolls is found with magic books among them, setting off a new arms race. But everyone who goes near those scrolls goes insane? Ancient magic, or is it a new bioweapon that fractures the mind of anyone exposed? Next up, fantasy, we have 6 titles this week. From Aparna Verma, we have The Phoenix King, out from Orbit US in trade paperback, ebook, and audio. This is a fantasy novel, the first in a trilogy inspired by Indian lore. An assassin, a princess, and a king are unready subjects of prophecy. revised and newly edited from the self-published first novel, The Boy with Fire, published in 2021, simultaneous with the Orbit UK edition. From Hilary Leichter, we have Terrace Story, out from Echo in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a literary fantasy novel. From the review in Locus by Ian Mond. Terrace Story isn't a single narrative, but 4 interconnected tales, each with a title inspired by architectural design. The first of these, Terrace, originally appeared in Harper's Magazine, where it was part of a portfolio of work by Leichter that won the 2021 National Magazine Award for Fiction. Rising rent prices see Edward, Annie, and their baby Rose downgrade into a tiny apartment in the city. Where they'd previously had the view of a lovely ginkgo tree, the introverted windows of their new lodgings are gated and clasped and huddled around a central shaft. Consider their surprise when Annie's coworker Stephanie comes over for dinner, suggests they eat outside, and opens the nappy closet to reveal, Narnia-style, a terrace decorated with strings of twinkling lights. From Vanessa Len, we have Never a Hero, out from Harper Teen in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a young adult fantasy novel, the second in the Monsters trilogy. Despite the odds, Joan reset the timeline, saved her family, and destroyed the hero, Nick. Now, she alone remembers what happened. Aaron, her hard-won friend, and maybe more, is an enemy trying to kill her. Nick, the boy she loved, is a stranger who doesn't even know her name. From Elizabeth Lim, we have Her Radiant Curse, out from Knopf in hardcover, ebook, and audio. This is a fantasy novel set in the world of 6 crimson cranes and inspired by South Asian folklore and the story of Helen of Troy. Cursed with a serpent's face, Hani is the exact opposite of her beautiful sister, Vanna, the only person in the village who looks at Hani and doesn't see a monster. Now 17, Vanna is about to be married off in a vulgar contest that will enrich the coffers of the village leaders. Only Hani, who's had to rely on her strength and cunning all these years, can defend her sister against the cruelest of the suitors. From Vanessa Montalban, we have A Tall, Dark Trouble, out from Zando in trade paperback and ebook. This is a young adult fantasy novel. In contemporary Miami, twins Delphi and Layla are haunted by a family curse that poisons any chance at romantic love. When they receive premonitions of a mysterious killer targeting Brujas, the sisters must use their emerging powers to save innocent lives. From Delvin Howell, we have Children of the Gulf, out from Beyond Publishing Caribbean in trade paperback, hardcover, and ebook. This is a fantasy novel. On the Caribbean island of Bimshire, miracles are sold every day. But each one comes with a burdensome debt. Kyle Harding's mother was an Obeah witch and built a massive debt which was passed on to her sons upon her death. Now, Gulfside, a duo of brutal assassins, have come to collect. In anthologies and collections, we have 4 titles. From the extraordinary Gene Wolfe, we have The Dead Man and Other Horror Stories, out from Subterranean Press in hardcover and ebook. This is a collection of 28 darker stories from Wolfe, a chronological retrospective including 6 tales never previously collected. The hardcover is a limited edition of 1,000. From editors Patricia Bray and Joshua Palmatier, we have Solar Flare, out from Zombies Need Brains in trade paperback and ebook. This is an original anthology of 17 solar punk stories looking at ways to mitigate or even reverse the effects of climate change. Authors include Chaz Brenchley, S.C. Butler, Sharon Lee and Steve Miller, and Rondi Salitz, funded through Kickstarter. From Richard Kadrey, we have The Secrets of Insects, out from Subterranean Press in hardcover and ebook. This is Kadrey's first short story collection with 16 stories. The Subterranean Press release is a signed limited edition. From Shelley Page and Alex Brown, we have Night of the Living Queers, out from Wednesday Books in hardcover, trade paperback, and ebook. This is a young adult original anthology of 13 horror stories by queer authors of color, putting fresh spins on classic tropes. Authors include Kaylin Barron, M.X. Liu, and Tara Sim. And in our very occasional, even somewhat reoccurring segment, in case you missed it, I'm going to tell you about another book that came out recently. The book is Cicadas Sing of Summer Graves by Quinn Connor, and it was published by Sourcebooks Landmark in June 2023. From the review by Colleen Mondor in Locus, welcome to Prosper, Arkansas, a small lakeside town with a group of quirky residents, an economy that exists largely off of vacation traffic, and a tragic history that is about to turn the lives of everyone in the immediate era upside down. Cassie is a local, deeply entrenched in community, busy running her great-grandfather's antique/repair shop and happily living in her family's double-wide trailer where she monitors a growing number of beehives. Cassie grew up on the lake, learning to swim there as a child with a possibly not imaginary friend, and is now terrified of the water. Lark's family long kept a houseboat on the lake, and she has now returned to get it ready for sale after her father suffered a mysterious and debilitating accident on board. Long known as a collector, he amassed an epic number of telescopes and displayed them on the boat. They must now be documented, packaged up, and sold. What Lark should not do is look through them, however, especially out over the lake. If she does that, she might see what her father saw, and that will be very bad, very, very bad for her. Welcome to Cicadas Sing of Summer Graves, an absolutely stunning novel that drips into the atmosphere of southern lakes and lazy days, while also exploring the legacy of flooded towns and long-suppressed tragedy. That wraps up this week. Thanks for spending some time with us. Time is the only thing we really have, other than, I guess, thoughts and feelings, and we appreciate you sharing them with us. At Locus, we set out to tell you everything relevant that's happening in the science fiction, fantasy, horror publishing space. Do me a favor, subscribe if you haven't already. We read and appreciate your comments. Book people are the best people, and you're all book people if you've made it this far. So thank you from me for being you. Locus Magazine and the Locus YouTube channel are a labor of love. We are at Locus Mag or at Locus Magazine on most platforms. You can read more about the science fiction, fantasy, and horror field over at www.locusmag.com or support us on our Patreon. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. Come back and see us again soon, and we'll be here next week with more new books.